York, big city of dreams.
I'm coming straight out.
New York, big city of dreams.
NYC.
So look, I told you guys at the beginning, like it's going to be a tough pill to swallow. It is. Like this is why I want to talk about Lamelo, because if we're talking about just general fit, he probably is a better fit for the Knicks.
Oh, my God, Ryan is smiling right at it. That boy.
Yeah, because I mean, to be honest about it, like at least my list per se, like I always I did view Lamelo Ball and Anthony Edwards as 1 and 2, but I picked Lamelo Ball over Anthony Edwards just for the simple fact that I felt like Lamelo Ball would be a more better fit for the Knicks than Anthony Edwards. So it's good to see that I'm kind of right here.
No, you're definitely on the right path.
Lamelo is so polarizing as well because of, I don't know, it's the LeVar thing or the shooting thing, and we don't have shooting, and he can't shoot. But I feel like certain scouts have him as, some have him as 2, some are like, I don't even want to mess with him because his defense is bad, or because he can't shoot, or like I don't know what it is, but. Break down your Lamelo Ball.
So yeah, we'll talk Lamelo. Yeah. So basically, I mean, my main bullet point is like, look, like this isn't just a hype because it's Lonzo's little brother, big baller brand. He went to Australia, like Slam was on his team's jersey. Like this kid's the real deal, like legit real deal. He's 6'7", I think. They haven't measured him in a while, but he's grown a ton since high school. He's gonna be a true lead guard, I think. He doesn't have a ton of pop in terms of like getting downhill and exploding to the basket, but he'll kind of get walled off, especially in isolation attempts. Like there's one clip of him where he just goes like between his legs repeatedly, like 8 times. That's a really bad attempt. I mean, people have watched it and they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So look, with everyone, no one's game film is perfect, but like some of the passes he makes, man, like I need to rewind that and watch it like 4 more times. Like at 6'7", his ability to not only like read but manipulate defenses with his handle at that height is wicked. Like he'll set people up in ball screens with creative dribbles. He has combos to shake his defenders. Once he gets in the lane, like he's pretty controlled with the ball, I would say. Like, but he's just like where he's at his best is just like deceiving the defense with his like eyes, with his floater gravity, just like with everything. He just makes some like the touch on his passes. I mean, you guys have seen he's been throwing full court baseball passes since he was a 14-year-old. Like he's still doing that now. Just like the touch on his lobs is crazy. Like it's off the charts, like through the roof. Like he is a real deal passer. I think he's the best passer in this class, and like this class is loaded with playmakers. You guys mentioned the shooting. The shooting is tough. Like it's definitely a tough pill to swallow. The percentages, he's 37% from the field and 25 from 3 on 6.7 3-pointer attempts per game. Yeah, not good. But what I'll say is when you take into account he basically couldn't hit a shot for the first like month of his season, whatever it is. I don't have the game log in front of me, but like it was brutal. The mechanics were kind of all over the place. You guys watch him, you know he kind of has that leg kick. His lower body mechanics are kind of off. Yeah. But as the season progressed, he got a lot better. That's going all the way across the world is not an easy thing. Playing it from a prep school league where I watched a ton of their games, they were just rolling the ball out there. Like Spire had some dudes, but they were just rolling the ball out there. To going to like organized, structured professional league with grown men, that's an adjustment. So it's not shocking that his shooting numbers kind of plummeted during the first month of that season. But as the season got on, not only did the numbers get better, but just the eye test of his mechanics got better. His lower body got a lot more balanced. He was jumping off 2, landing off 2, going straight up. I mean, especially on his pull-up jumpers, which is going to be a huge weapon because he has a ton of range. Like that's one thing he definitely has for sure is range and touch. And like when we're talking about Anthony Edwards and we're talking about shooting indicators, like Lamelo has all the indicators. His touch, I mean, he'll pull a floater from 15 feet away and it'll drop straight through the net. Like his touch on floaters and just little touch passes, he has every indicator in the book. So if you're a believer that touch equates to future shooting, like which I can buy that, and I know a lot of smart people on Twitter praise that, so I'm gonna go with them on that. And then you've got to believe that he's gonna be able to shoot it at some point.
Free throw shooting.
And even if he becomes a little bit above league average on his volume with his passing, that's really all you need him to be. We're not asking him to be a 40% 3-point shooter. Like we just need him to be league average, so that doesn't hurt his efficiency because you're really getting sold on the passing. Like, the playmaking is incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
So how's his free throw shooting?
So his free throw shooting, let me pull up his numbers. I don't know if I have them right in front of me.
Okay.
I got it for you. So his free throw shooting is 72%. Not great,
bad.
but
not great, but not.
It's fine. It's
Okay.
fine. I mean, nothing that jumps off the page that screams this guy's going to shoot it.
Right.
Like Killian Hayes, who we'll talk about later.
Killian.
But nothing detrimental, right? Like, he's not in the 60s. He's not.
Right.
His mechanics aren't broken, and they've come a long way. Like, look, we've talked about Lonzo revamping his shot. LaMelo had one of the ugliest shots I've ever seen as a freshman. Like, he literally would flare. I mean, you can look at pictures. He literally would flare his right elbow out and then shoot it. It was like a two motion, like, let me flare my elbow and then I'll flick it. I have no idea how it went in, but it did. So, like, just the fact that he's revamped that, he's gotten his leg kick under control for the most part. The elbow, there's still a flare, but it's so much less significant. That speaks to his work ethic.
Okay.
I think if you can just kind of keep that up, I think he'll shoot it. I really do. The defense is tough. Sometimes he gets caught. Like, I mean, that's the consensus. Look, that, like, a lot of these things are following him from his Chino Hills days and his Spire days, which I don't think is completely fair because that dude had a leash longer than anyone I've ever seen before.
Okay.
But the counterpoint to that is, as ESPN's Mike Schmitz talks about all the time, is that's what made him who he was. The freedom he had allowed him to try new shit out every time and see what worked and see what didn't. And
so you think the
Yeah,
defensive knock on him is overrated?
So I think the defense is rough, and it definitely needs work. But we're still talking about a dude who's 6'7", with some good length, and who's a really smart basketball player. So at some point, you're kind of just going to have to hope that once he puts a little bit more muscle on, because he's going to need to put some more muscle on.
Yeah,
He's
we know
really-
that.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah. So you got to hope that once he puts like a little bit more muscle on, he's just going to rely on his reads and become a solid team defender. I don't think he's going to be a great team defender, but if he can, with his offensive potential, if he can just be a serviceable neutral defender, that's going to be a win. And I think his roadmap to that is not going to be an on-ball stopper. It's just going to be, hey, I know the game 2 steps ahead of everyone else, and if I'm locked in, I can make some plays. That's his roadmap. It's definitely gotten better, but again, everything you're reading, it's still not great on that end.
All right.
Yeah.
So number 2, pretty much because he's an elite playmaker. Possibly he can shoot later on in the league. Defense, you're hoping that can come around at some point and be decent. Definitely needs to do some push-ups.
Oh, one thing about push-ups and just bulk in more weight. One thing that is worth noting is that when he doesn't get all the way to the rim because I don't think he wants contact. He has the ball in his hands all the time, and he's not really getting to the line that much. I think it was like 3.9 free throw attempts, which again, nothing eye-popping like Tyrese Halliburton, who we'll talk about later, who was allergic to contact. But LaMelo, he kind of, and even when he does get fouled, he gets bumped off his spot so easily, or even when there's contact and the ref doesn't call it, it's tough for him to finish. So in turn, he settles for too many floaters. I love the floater in general. I think it's such a sweet shot. And LaMelo is one of the best at it, probably the best floater in this class.
Right.
So there's nothing more than seeing him drain a floater, but there are sometimes where I'm like, man, just attack his hip and get to the rim. You know what I'm saying? So I think that mentality will come with when he gets more muscle, and he doesn't feel like he's getting bumped off his spots all the time. And where you can really feel like he can get up there, take the bump, and explode to the rim. So I think putting on weight will help him on both ends dramatically.
All right,
most definitely.
It's a pretty thorough pick and roll defense too.
Yeah, I mean, he had a really bad habit of, in the beginning, I haven't watched him in a little bit, but in the beginning of the season, he would go under screens and just get caught in screens way too easily. He's probably and we were just I was talking to a couple of people, and they're just like, look, you're 6'7", dude. Go over that screen and just try to play from behind and alter that shot and try to get back into the play. Going under the screen and getting completely shielded isn't doing anything to help your defender. So if you guys want a real in-depth stuff, have you guys heard of Spencer Perlman?
Oh, yeah. I know Spencer. You follow Spencer.
So he's a big Knicks guy. He does a lot of stuff with John Makery and at the Knicks Film School. So
yeah, he kind of on the show last year, kind of, sort of. I kind of interviewed him last year.
Spencer's one of the best draft guys out there, hands down, and he watches more film than anyone I can even name off the top of my head. So he wrote a really detailed LaMelo explanation. If you guys are looking for anything else, he covers it in there. So that's what I would say. Just because I haven't watched him in a little bit, and I know Spencer will cover anything that I didn't have and more.
Definitely
cool.
Stepien. Definitely check out the Stepien.
Yep, the Stepien.
That's
all right. I got one more. I have one last question on LaMelo Ball. All right, so
sounds good.
Yeah, so like how we were discussing Anthony Edwards, you said like sometimes his motor can be a bit iffy. Sometimes, like sometimes he's on it and sometimes he's off. What about LaMelo Ball's motor? Like, what do you think of his motor?
So I mean, that was probably my biggest qualm with him, like watching him in high school and stuff, like at Spire, I would say, because like if you watch a Spire game and like there are times where like literally the broadcast will be on defense and like LaMelo isn't in the broadcast screen because he's not back on defense. Like the team will be, I'm not kidding. Like, the team will be in the half court offense, like running their stuff, and LaMelo is just not on the screen. And,
Damn.
like, he wasn't held accountable for that, and that was what it was. That was the situation, and that was the leash he had. Now, did some of that leash equate to his offensive genius? Yes, it did 100%. But the defensive lapses off the ball and just not being fully engaged is kind of what you're seeing as a result of that. But the kid, like anyone else who plays basketball, he wants to win. Like, so I don't think it's hardwired in his brain that he doesn't care, like win or lose. That's what I would say. Like,
all right,
okay.
If you're like, yes, it fluctuates like Anthony Edwards, but that wouldn't be what would keep me from picking him. You know, like I just feel like as a coaching staff with proper player development, you can hold this kid accountable. But he's a tough one because you don't want to hold him, like you never want to contain him. Like, you don't want to
give him some type of freedom.
So it's tough, but getting him to play hard all the time, especially being engaged on defense off the ball, will be a huge point of emphasis for whoever drafts him.
All right.
Cool. So LaMelo is number 2. Number 3.
Yep, LaMelo's number 2. Number 2 on my board. So number 3. Are we going who I think the Knicks should pick at number 3 or who I have number 3 on my personal board? You guys tell me.
Number 3 on your personal board.
Now I want to go to Knicks.
All right.
Wait. I was need for Knicks or personal board.
All right. Well, my number 3 and 4, you could interchange them for me at this point. I'm not hard set on either one, and I think they'd both be good picks for the Knicks. So I'll go with number 3 first. So Denny Avdia from Israel.
New York, big city of dreams.
I'm coming straight out.
New York, big city of dreams.
NYC.